start of 6 games in 10 days for the Phoenix Suns. They come in here to Orlando 26-14 on the season. The Magic 16-22. Tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Discount Tire Company. Visit Discount Tire Company on the web by logging on to discounttire.com. Discount Tire, low prices, more choices, and the best brands. Raja Bell was questionable coming into this game. He sustained a thigh injury in the game against the Clippers in Los Angeles. Aggravated that injury, but is good to go here tonight in the backcourt along with Steve Nash. Boris Diaw back in the starting lineup because of matchups along with Sean Marion and Kurt Thomas for Suns head coach Mike D'Antoni, who always said this Suns team was capable of scoring 150 points in a game. Well, they had 149 in 2 overtimes against Seattle. That's close enough. Starting lineup now for the hometown Orlando Magic. Stevie Francis back at the point with Jameer Nelson out with a foot injury. Francis suspended a couple of games by the team for conduct detrimental to the squad. He's in the backcourt along with Deshaun Stevenson, the defensive stopper. Dwight Howard, Tony Battie, and Hedo Turkoglu, the bigs for head coach here in Orlando, Brian Hill. I guess after Bob Hill and the Sonics on Sunday, we get another Hill. It's Brian, second go-round as head coach here in Orlando. He was also their head coach from 1993 to 97 when he coached the team to the NBA Finals in 95. He had a couple of guys named Shaq and Penny on that team. Tonight's AutoZone matchup presented by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. How about the point guards tonight, Eej?
Well, it's going to be a great matchup here, no doubt about it. You know, Steve Nash is going to run into guys who think that they can elevate to his status. And Steve Francis is another one of those players, a guy that's been in all-star games, has been mentioned, possibly could be one of the top guards in the league. He is going to come out, as all the others have tried this year, and try to measure themselves against him. Steve Francis, very difficult to guard. If you allow him to catch the ball 20 feet to the basket, he can put it on the floor, very strong, can create, and then get to the rim as well.
Mentioned that 2-game suspension that Steve Francis served. It was actually imposed by this Orlando team. He refused to re-enter a game on their West Coast road trip, a game in Seattle against the Sonics, and then was sent home by the squad. Missed 2 games, but is back and again starting because Jameer Nelson is out with a sprained right foot. Nelson had been their best player over the last 11 games before the injury. Nelson was averaging 22 points and 7 assists for the Magic.
Yeah, he's played very well, and a guy that, you know, was disappointed in his draft position, but a guy that has proved himself in the league. But, you know, what Steve Francis did, you just can't do, especially when you're the leader of the team. And no matter what the situation, no matter how bad the game is, and you might be surprised that the coach is putting you back in, you cannot deny going in the basketball game when you're the leader of this basketball team. That's just unheard of. They did the right thing.
Up, and away from Orlando. The tap is controlled finally by Stevie Francis of the Magic. Tonight's officials, Ken Maurer, Michael Smith, and Mark Ayat. And we already have a stop in play and a bit of a problem already with the clock. And talking to Mike D'Antoni and the style that he expects from this Orlando team, they like to slow it down, Eddie. They average only 92 points per game, give up 95. That is 10th best in the NBA, the defense.
Which surprises me because especially they have sort of the same athletes and size as the Suns. And why wouldn't they? This starting lineup that they have out here, you can't tell me Tony Battie can't run and Dwight Howard can't run. I mean, so slowdown's not going to work because the Suns are going to push him and make them run. But I think what the Suns have to worry about, especially in the short term here, is that this team is capable of running it back at them with their speed and quickness as well.
That's why he's had a bit of an ongoing feud as well with Stevie Francis, who doesn't particularly like the style right now under Brian Hill here in Orlando. Suns in the locker room on the board saying playing our tempo is vital. Orlando has never won a game when they've given up 100 points. Taking their time inside of 5 on the shot clock for Battie. It's swatted there from behind by Marion. Diaw was there with the frontal defense, and now it's Nash firing a quick 3, front iron, and 3 magicians are there for the rebound.
Yeah, they're going to crash the board. They understand that they have to get as many possessions as they can in order to win this basketball game.
Francis defended by Nash. And now Francis will fire right over Steve Nash. First hoop of the night. Magic on top 2-0. They're also without Kelvin Cato, who's out with a sprained ankle, and Bo Outlaw has a sprained knee. Was that shooting around before this game?
That surprised me.
I can't remember the last time Bo Outlaw was injured or couldn't play out on a basketball court. Got his nonstop energy. Signed as a free agent with the Magic during the offseason. Inside, pump fake, and drawing the foul. Kurt Thomas hacked there by Battie.
Kurt got bailed out that time, Tom, because he really had nowhere to go. And, Kurt hasn't been able to elevate like he used to. So just trying to get the body contact was beneficial for him. But the excellent pass there by Boris Diaw inside. And Kurt just using his wit.
Got to finish off the injury list for this Orlando team. We haven't even mentioned Grant Hill, who aggravated his sports hernia, had surgery before the season started, and has played only 11 games this season, and went back to Philadelphia to see the doctor who performed the surgery to have another MRI. So no telling how much longer Grant Hill will be out for this Orlando team.
Well, and Grant Hill's an example for all young players. You never take what you have for granted, and that's your health, because this was a great player we're talking about. We're talking about a guy every night was close to a triple-double, but yet injuries won't allow him to perform. And these young players that's healthy, they have to understand that and be thankful that they're healthy and playing well, because you can't take it for granted.
Grant Hill came back last season for the Magic and rounded back into all-star form, but again hampered by more injuries after having 5 ankle surgeries in 5 years. Raja Bell shut down there by a tandem of defenders, and now it's Marion free for 3 in the corner, and down it goes for Sean Marion in the zone with AutoZone. $100 to Phoenix Suns Charities after the three-pointer by Marion.
What I like about Sean this year, and he's only shooting 29% from 3, is that he's been selective in his threes, Tom, and his shooting percentage way over 50% from 2 makes D'Antoni a little bit more comfortable when he takes that shot.
Suns leading by 2. Whistle and a foul on Kurt Thomas of the Suns. That's his first here with 9:52 to go in the opening quarter. The Magic coming in, having won 6 in a row here at home at TD Waterhouse Center.
Yeah, and 3 in a row overall. And, Kurt can't get in foul trouble in this game. There's not many people on the Suns bench that can guard Howard inside.
And that will be a difficult matchup all night because of the athleticism, the strength of Dwight Howard. Bucket and 1. He'll head to the line. There you have it, the power of Dwight Howard. This guy has really improved his offensive skills.
Yeah, and you can tell obviously he's been pumping the weights as well, because he came in with a very good body, but it's gotten better. And, the key with a good body is to be able to use it, get yourself in position to be able to execute your shot. Most of his shots are going to come in the paint, so he's gotten much better at making himself available inside. And
trying to make himself a better free throw shooter, shooting 61% from the line this season, finishes off the three-point play. And Orlando has the 1-point advantage here early in the first quarter. Howard comes in averaging 15 points and 13 rebounds, second only in the rebounding department to Ben Wallace. Percentage points behind. Diaw shut down there by Battie, and now Raja Bell playing on that thigh injury. Nash sets up Diaw, the finger roll from 7 feet, ripped out of there by Battie. Here comes Orlando, willing to run. Deshaun Stevenson attacking the rack and then tipping it in.
Well, as I said, they're going to be seduced in the running, and really they want to run. So this is the type of team they want to play, knowing that coach does not want them to run. The ability of the Suns to make you run is going to make the Magic happy.
Diaw trying to force the issue for the Suns, unable to finish at the cup. And here's Francis, wide left, and boarded there by Sean Marion. The Suns start out shooting 1 of 6 from the field. Orlando now 3 of 7 here in the early going. Nash's pass is tipped, and now it's Marion. Thinks about the 3, defended by Hedo Turkoglu. Nash sets up Diaw. Elbow left side, down it goes for Boris Diaw. The assist to Nash.
People wonder why the Suns lead the league in field goal percentage, because everything's open. I mean, they get the most open shots of any team in the league.
The creative and innovative Steve Nash offensively, and it's Battie taking Boris Diaw into the low block and tipped out of there into the hands of Nash. Suns trailing by 1. Nash, good look from 16 feet, and a good shot by Nash. Suns on top.
The early pick and roll there, and Howard didn't want to jump out, and I don't blame him.
Nash, another sensational offensive night in that double overtime game against Seattle. Had 28 points, 16 assists against the Sonics. And there is Orlando taking their time. 5 on the shot clock now for Howard. Does he have range? Couldn't connect, and Steve Nash with a rebound. So you can see the philosophy of Brian Hill here early. Slow it down, very similar to the philosophy of Mike Fratello in Memphis. Marion in and out, boarded there by Deshaun Stevenson.
You know, every coach tried and slow it down, but you can't. I mean, you can't slow down a team that's committed to running. I don't care what you do.
So enticing, too, for a player like Turkoglu. Fires it up and in for three. Yeah, when players like Francis or Turkoglu get a good look from the outside, you don't want to wait for that shot clock to dip inside of 5 seconds.
You're right, and why? I mean, if you get a 15-footer 5 seconds into the clock, why are you going to run a play to get that same shot with the clock running down? And that's the most difficult thing I can understand with some coaches, old school coaches that is, that think that way. But the good penetration there by Nash to give Boris the look. And then Steve coming down again, the quick pick and pop. Howard didn't want to step out. All net.
Illegal defense call on Dwight Howard of the Magic. Results in a technical free throw. And Orlando on top by 2 here with 7:04 to go. First of 6 on the road after this one. Suns will head to Miami to take on the Heat on Thursday night. And then it's Joe Johnson and the Hawks in Atlanta on Friday. Nash looking for Marion. Couldn't control the pass. Here comes Francis. Pass Nash. Rolls it up. Dwight Howard there on the offensive glass.
He's strong or what? I mean, he's backed Sean up, and Sean's not a spring chicken there. I mean, he just backed him up like he was just a feather.
Before the season, general managers around the league asked who would have the breakout season this year. They picked Dwight Howard. They knew what they were talking about. This guy just 20 years of age, had a 21 rebound performance against Charlotte and Emeka Okafor. Of course, Okafor was the player drafted right after Dwight Howard, who was taken #1 overall last year. From the outside, Raja Bell, wide right, and rebounded finally by Batia of Orlando. Suns now just 3 of 12 shooting here in the quarter.
Yeah, but the key is their good look. I mean, every shot they're getting is wide open, so you know it's not going to continue.
Halfway through the first quarter, double team on Howard. Here comes Turkoglu, puts it on the floor, fading to his left, draws the foul, and a ticket to the line for Turkoglu with Orlando up by 4.
Yeah, that's the key there. You know, a lot of teams don't understand. I mean, the Suns really don't worry about missing a lot of shots early. The one thing that they do worry about is missing and then finding themselves plus 10 down. Well, they're only 4 points down, and they're missing shots. So if anyone that should be worried right now is the Orlando Magic coaching staff, because they should have a bigger lead than what they have at this moment.
Tonight's game brought to you by Southwest Airlines, official airline of the NBA. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom. Boris Diaw checks out now with 2 personal fouls, and the first appearance for Leandro Barbosa, who had the starting nod in the game against Seattle. And Leandro wound up with 16 points, his first start since returning from the latest knee injury. And still at the line for his second free throw, Turkoglu, 87% from the line. He's one of the most pure shooters in the league.
He really is, and he really hasn't stepped out like I thought he would after having the breakout years in Sacramento. And, you know, finally got off by himself away from that system. I thought that he would really step it up. You know, he wasn't a spectacular player in San Antonio, and he's really been up and down here in Orlando.
I really felt he improved his defense in his time in San Antonio with the Spurs. 7-0 Orlando run. Barbosa trying to create now for Raja Bell. Finds Sean Marion along the baseline, and it rolls in for the Matrix. Assist Raja Bell.
I don't know if that slipped out of his hand or he just dropped it through like that. I don't know. I've never been up that high. I can't tell. You haven't either, so don't laugh.
Had just the right spin on it. Second field goal for Marion from the outside for 2. Deshaun Stevenson.
Another high school guy. Utah had him for a while and had up and down years there, but showed some ability.
Yep. Entered the NBA at the age of 18 with the Utah Jazz. Their fiery head coach Jerry Sloan, the veteran Stockton, Malone, Hornacek, as Kurt Thomas is sent away by Dwight Howard. You talk about his rebounding, his scoring is up. He is also a menace with the block shots. So we have a timeout here in the first quarter. Orlando and the Suns. It's a 6-point edge for the home team. Suns 4 of 14 from the field, 29% here in the opening quarter. Hey, Suns fans, why cheer on an empty stomach? McDonald's Dollar Menu is a slam dunk with a big and tasty sandwich, sure to fill you up before the big game for just $1 at participating McDonald's. For the Suns, led in scoring by Marion's 5 points. Turkoglu, Dwight Howard both with 5. Howard has 3 rebounds already, and that block shot on Kurt Thomas. You know, not only is he a strong, physical player, but what a great kid. When they drafted this youngster, Eddie, they talked about his character. They call him a choir boy, deeply religious, and doesn't want to have an impact just on the basketball court. Wants to impact people's lives off the court. Nash tries again from the outside. The big shot for Steve Nash in the zone with AutoZone. $100 to Phoenix Suns charities from AutoZone. And the lead is 3 now for Orlando.
I watched Steve take about 15 shots from that spot. I mean, he knows that's his most comfortable spot in shooting that 3. So you know if he keeps getting that wide open to look, well, they're going to start to go.
2 of 4 so far shooting here in the first quarter for Nash. 5 on the shot clock for Deshaun Stevenson, who pumps it in from the outside. Again, he had those battles with Jerry Sloan early in his career in Utah, and then came over here to Orlando in a deal that sent Gordon Giricek to the Jazz.
Yeah, but I think Raja and Stevenson will tell you they learned a lot from being with Sloan. A very patient coach, a guy that puts you in the system and encourages you to run it through and make you be patient within an offense to see things. And when you get away from him, I think now you start to teach other guys and you understand a little bit more. So I think that's why especially Raja has had so much success in his Sun system.
And he said it was difficult, too, even though you were in a learning situation with those veterans like Stockton and Hornacek ahead of you, but wasn't sure what his role would be with the Jazz when he finally would get the opportunity. Suns turned it over on that last possession, and Batie breaks free for 2.
Well, Turkoglu can pass the ball. You know, he spent time in the farm system with Chris Webber and Vlade Divac, who I think are 2 of the best passers probably to ever play at their size. And so his ability to look over the defense and find people is brought on by him being with them.
Sounds like the face of the Kings may be changing once again. Another offensive rebound for Kurt Thomas. And in the corner, Marion in and out. Rebounded there by Raja Bell. And he is mugged on top of the head by Stevie Francis. And Francis has been whistled for the foul. It's a flagrant penalty 1 on Stevie Francis.
Well, I mean, I don't know what he was doing. I think in his day off when he was suspended, he took a karate class. I'm serious, because he just karate chopped down right there. I mean, he wasn't trying to do anything. I don't know how he was trying to get ball. That is unbelievable.
And that's not a flagrant 1, Eddie. That should actually be flagrant 2. Anything above the shoulder line
he's looking
with intent.
He's looking perplexed. I mean, he's looking like, what did I do?
He's had his scuffles with Phoenix players before. When he was with Houston, he and Amari went toe-to-toe at one point. So the free throws for Raja Bell, and the Suns will have it out of bounds. But you know the NBA will review that replay, and you can expect quite possibly another suspension for Stevie Francis.
Well, I guarantee you Raja's going to foul him hard for the game goal. Matter of fact, he passed the ball to the referee, and it came pretty close to hitting Stevie Francis in his head.
He is just a fiery competitor who loses his temper out there on the court. We talked about the fact that he was suspended by the team for refusing to re-enter the game in Seattle as Barbosa blasts in, sets up Kurt Thomas, now back to Leandro. 7 on the shot clock for Barbosa, back iron, and look at the 2 leapers in there, Howard and Marion. Deshaun Stevenson the other way for Orlando, poked away with a foul on Raja Bell. But, you know, it goes back to day 1 for Stevie Francis when he was drafted by the Vancouver Grizzlies, 2nd overall, and then refused to report, and then eventually forced a trade to Houston.
It's always a trail. I mean, I talked about that in the pregame with Ron Artest. I mean, now we're hearing that he's telling the Kings he doesn't want to come there. You know, here's a guy that's been disrupting teams, a potential championship team the last 2 years, and now when he's traded, he's presumably telling the Kings that he doesn't want to be there. I'd say leave him at home. Just don't let him play.
You know, I don't know if you recall last season, too, after the first meeting between the Suns and the Magic in Phoenix, Francis was asked about the Suns' run-and-gun style. He said, there's no way that's going to work in the playoffs. Well, Mike D'Antoni said, you know, Steve Francis never been the most cerebral of players. And in fact, of course, you see the Suns making it all the way to the Western Conference Finals.
Well, on top of that, he played with a coach in Rudy Tomjanovich that basically, you know, ran a half-court system. So when he came into the league, that's all he ran.
Yeah, full of isolations for Francis and Mobley.
Yeah, so he doesn't know how to run.
Orlando's lead is 21-15. The Suns now 5 of 20 from the field. Make that 6 of 21 as Steve Nash plugs the big shot.
but only down 3, Tom, as I stated. I mean, it's not about what you're shooting from the field. It's where you stand in the game, and are you getting good open shots? And, you know, the Suns have to feel good about the fact that they have gotten good looks.
Nash now has 8 points to lead the Suns. Orlando in their last game did not get much bench production because of all the injuries. They had only 2 bench points in their last game of victory over the Sacramento Kings in overtime here at TD Waterhouse Center. Here comes Nash and the Suns down by 3. It was an 83-78 overtime win here at home against Sacramento. And Brian Hill calling it the best defensive effort of the season by the Magic. Running floater there by Shawn Marion.
And I'm just so happy to start seeing that shot more from Shawn, because I thought he went through a stretch where he didn't go to it. I mean, his first few years, we really grew enamored with his ability to shoot off balance shots and running one-handers in the lane, and now he seems to be right back with it.
Lobbing it up to Dwight Howard, who is pushed from behind. And the foul on James Jones of the Suns. And we have a timeout with 1:38 to go. Shawn Marion shooting over 50% from the field, and it's not just dunks.
No, he's got the whole combination right now, virtually unguardable without a play being run at him. Suns trail by 1.
Tom Leander, Eddie Johnson back with you from Orlando. 1-point game here in the opening quarter. Tonight's heart-pumping moment brought to you by Banner Health. Go back to Sunday night's second overtime. Ray Allen for the win.
Don't leave him open. Don't leave him open.
Too late.
And that's a mix-up defensively, obviously, the Suns did. I mean, Shawn ran at him at least, but this guy was in a zone all night long. I don't care who you are running at him. Ray Allen did not see Shawn Marion. All he saw was, I'm open, I got one dribble, and that rim looks as big as Joe Klein's head.
Poor guy's not even here to defend himself.
Well, if he was here, I wouldn't say anything. The guy's about 7 foot 350 right now.
Not like he hasn't heard that before. He said that himself. You know,
I shot it on his head one time. I thought it was the rim.
It was like a backstop. Come right back at you. So what happened defensively, though? I mean, you've had a chance to talk to some of the guys. It's just so strange to see that, you know, there was 3 different players just trying to figure out what their assignment was on that particular play.
I thought that obviously the goal was to switch out, and obviously they got mixed up there. I don't know exactly which player. I'm not going to even go there until someone confessed to me, but it just looked like really the whole team broke down defensively. I'll just put it on the whole team, because even though Shawn Marion realized it and ran at him and made it look like it would be difficult, but you know, the guy was making shots with guys hanging on him all in the fourth quarter and the early overtimes. You just knew that he would get a good look, and it went all in.
1 of 2 at the line for Dwight Howard. It is now a 7-2 Suns run. About 25 to go in the opening quarter. Barbosa had trouble finishing the layups in the last couple of games since coming back from that injury. Still dealing with the timing issue out there on the court in live action. From the outside, Stevie Francis, who, if you're just joining us, picked up a flagrant foul earlier in the period. Bludgeoning Raja Bell. Steve Nash hits rock bottom once again for the Suns and gives them a 1-point lead. Another 3 for Nash, who's now 4 of 6 shooting, has 11 points.
He's getting the good looks. I mean, they're committed to running back in the paint to take away the Suns' layups, and that just allows Steve to just go right down and take the easy shot.
Steve will take care of the tempo himself. The Suns trying to pick up the pace here against the slow-footed Magic, at least offensively, and they go down low once again to Dwight Howard.
He's showing me something. I mean, last year I wasn't that impressed right away with his inside game, but obviously he has been working on it.
Wow! One-handed jackhammer slam there by Shawn Marion off the 3D feed.
Well, how did Shawn know? He knows because Boris Diaw looks for him. And anytime Boris is around the rim and he can see Shawn at the corner of his eye, he's going to throw it up at the rim and let him go get it.
That was special. And the Suns back on top by 1. Here's Howard again, attacking the iron, and a late whistle. I believe they will hit Boris Diaw, and now that is 3 on Diaw.
Yeah, and Mike D'Antoni rolled the dice there with Boris to bring him back in, and he pays the price there. And you know, I thought excellent pass there with Shawn just hanging above the rim, but the foul, you know, Howard's been going well early, and he had an easy opportunity there. It looks like to me he just lost control of the basketball.
You know, it was interesting too as Dwight Howard heads to the line. One of the first lines of business for Brian Hill when he took this Orlando job was to fly to Atlanta to meet with Dwight Howard and his parents, telling him, I know they didn't run anything for you last year offensively. It will be different this year. with myself as the head coach. He said, we can go a long ways. You can help my career, and I can help yours.
Well, that's exactly what it was. I mean, I can tell you, Brian, what he did was he looked at his roster and said, okay, Grant Hill's been hurt a lot. You know, I got to talk to him. Stevie Francis, I got to talk to him, but, you know, I don't know how long he's going to be here. But, you know, Howard's going to be here a while. And I want a job for a long time.
Yep. I want to be your friend. He is the franchise forward, a la Amari Stoudemire with the Phoenix Suns. Pat Burke out there now for Phoenix. Did not play in that last game against Seattle, the double overtime affair. Pat Burke still owns a home here in Orlando. And from the outside, James Jones pulling the trigger and is fouled and earns 3 free throws.
Yeah,
seen this before.
Well, we've seen it before, and James Jones will tell you. I mean, he's a very observant guy, and he's watched guys that shot the basketball from the perimeter, and it's a lot of tricks to the trade, but you have to be selective. I saw the other night he got caught when he stuck his leg out too many times in a row, and the official finally called it on him. But you have a right to spread your legs out. That's no foul on you if you spread your legs out and the guy clips you and you go down.
5.4 seconds to go, and Junior misses the first 2 free throws.
Yeah, and Suns come in first in the league, and they've been struggling big time early on in this game.
James Jones, 84% from the line this season. Suns already have missed 4 attempts. 1 of 3 at the line for James Jones. 5.4 to go. Here comes Keon Dooling and the Magic. Final seconds of the first quarter from the outside, and we are done with one from Orlando. The Suns hanging tough with the Magic despite some woeful shooting in the beginning, but 8 early offensive rebounds and the sensational shooting of Steve Nash. We are headed to the second quarter with the Suns leading the Magic 26-25, and you are watching Phoenix Suns basketball on UPN 45. With director Dan Siekman, our producer Bob Adlock, Tom Leander, and Eddie Johnson back with you. Start of the second quarter here in Orlando. And we saw Stevie Francis chopping down on the head of Raja Bell. It was physical as well on that last West Coast road trip for this Orlando team. Little brouhaha with Keon Dooling and Ray Allen spilling over into the front row. And what happened was, it was a 5-game suspension for Keon Dooling, 3 for Ray Allen, because Dooling then ran into the tunnel and had to be restrained by 2 to 3 officers from going after Ray Allen again.
I'm just mad that the camera came in at the wrong angle and saw Dooling. They didn't really see Ray Allen running toward him, which meant he'd have got 5 games, which meant we wouldn't have saw him in the last one.
Well, Dooling is back for this Orlando team, and Ray Allen did return for Seattle.
I don't know what these guys think about, Tom. I mean, that's just too much money to throw away.
A lot more for Ray Allen, Keon Dooling, because of the salary that he brings in. I think it cost Dooling about $140,000. That's still a pretty penny there. Eddie House out there along with James Jones and Pat Burke off the bench, and there is the Irish Spring, Pat Burke right down the lane.
Well, he used their jumping ability against them. They thought he would elevate and try to lay it above the rim. He just got rid of it in a hurry off the glass.
Eddie, in that first quarter, Nash and Marion a combined 8 of 14 from the field for the Suns. The rest of the team, 1 of 11.
Well, they're the leaders, and everyone else will find their way.
Dwight Howard hopping into the lane and finishing with the left hand.
He is definitely wearing on me.
Nash had 11 points in the opening quarter. Marion had 9 points and 7 rebounds. Eddie House setting up Pat Burke again. Met at the 10th floor there by Hito Turkoglu, and a ticket to the line for Pat Burke.
I don't know if that was the 10th floor. I think it was the 8th floor.
It was about 9.5. Caught between the 9th and the 10th.
Yeah, that might have been the 8th floor.
Oh, he's getting up there. Come on.
That was the 8th floor. His arms got him to the 10th floor.
Great opportunity, though, for Pat Burke. I mean, talk about this decision by Mike D'Antoni. Burke hasn't been playing much, but he comes back here to Orlando, where he spent 1 season with the Magic and still has the home here. His wife and twin boys are on the trip as well.
Yeah, I don't think that plays into it. I think what's played into it is the fact Kurt Thomas and Boris Diaw got in foul trouble. And as I stated early, I thought they would have problems if those two guys got in foul trouble, because who else is going to guard them? Suns, he is strong.
You're right. Suns, though, have now missed 6 free throw attempts here already in the first half. And there is Keon Dooling, who was their key free agent acquisition during the offseason. Well, we talked about the suspension. He's also been hampered by injuries. So so has not played much at all this season. Eddie House, that shot partially deflected on the run out. Look at Dwight Howard. Goes up for the pass. Francis to the hoop, finishing with the left.
Yeah, so that was a time right there for James Jones, who's not going to foul out of the game, put him on the floor. I think, as the Suns get deeper into this season, you have to protect one another. And if Steve Francis is going to commit hard foul, you got to seize your opportunity as well.
James Jones in and out for two. Out there now for Orlando, number 40, Terrence Morris, third-year player out of Maryland, 27 years of age, who last year spent some time playing ball in Greece. So he's out there with Dooling, Francis, Turkoglu, and Dwight Howard, and there is Turkoglu stroking it from the outside.
Well, they're trying to take advantage of the Suns' reserves, and it's normally the other way around.
Vito Turkoglu comes in averaging 13 points a game and has filled in admirably in the absence of Grant Hill. Grant Hill actually leading this team in scoring. Back iron for Pat Burke. Trying to chase down the rebound is Marion, trying to keep it alive. And it's Barbosa bouncing it off the knee of Terrence Morris. And still down on the floor there is Stevie Francis.
Oh, I think his head ran into the knee of Leandro Barbosa. And Barbosa's not feeling too well either over there on the sideline.
You know who liked watching that, though? Roger Bell. Take this, Stevie. This is what you get for chopping me over the head.
Well, he got the arm really to the forehead a little bit.
So the ball squirts free by midcourt, and a big-time collision there for Francis. Was able to get himself back up and now heads to the Orlando bench. Checking in, Travis Diener for this Orlando team. Sean Marion missing everything, so it's Diener out there along with Keon Dooling in the backcourt.
Yeah, Orlando's really not a great shot-blocking basketball team, but early on they're getting their hands on a lot of opportunities.
Keep an eye on Diener, 6'1" rookie from Marquette. Leads all rookies in three-point percentage. There is James Jones, absolutely for three. Another $100 to Phoenix Suns charities from AutoZone. Suns, 5 of 11 three-point shooting. Eddie, they're shooting a higher percentage from three-point range than they are from the free throw line.
Well, it doesn't surprise anyone because they're going to keep shooting. And obviously Orlando, as Howard gets inside again, I think their defensive game plan right now is not to allow the Suns to get those easy opportunities inside, and they've done a pretty good job so far.
Another three-point play opportunity for Dwight Howard. At the other end, the Suns, 5 of 11 three-point shooting, 4 of 10 from the free throw line. Timeout here from TD Waterhouse Center. 8:17 to go until halftime, in Orlando leading by 4. Back here in Orlando, second quarter with the Magic leading by 4. This day in NBA history, presented by Paddock Pools, Patios, and Spas. Since 1958, we're all your backyard needs. January 24th, 1990. The Lakers' Pat Riley became the 13th coach to reach the 500 victory plateau, getting there faster than any coach in league history. Only 684 games. The Suns will run into Pat Riley in the Miami Heat in their next contest on Thursday. They're in Miami, a game you can watch right here on UPN 45. That'll be a fun one, and I would imagine the Miami Heat are going to remember that first quarter back in Phoenix when Eddie House and the Suns pasted 47 in the period.
I guarantee you they're going to. Well, if the players don't remember it, it'll be all on their chalkboard, trust me. Coaches try to look for any avenue to fire players up, but I don't think they will have to. I thought the Miami Heat was thoroughly embarrassed in that basketball game, and the Suns 2 years in a row, at home, embarrassed them on their floor, and the Heat embarrassed the Suns in their venture back there to Miami last year, so let's hope it's not a repeat.
There was talk that Pat Riley and the Heat might have been one of the teams interested in Ron Artest, but Eddie, there are reports that a deal is done, though not confirmed right now, that Ron Artest will be heading from Indiana to Sacramento, and the Kings sending Peja Stojakovic to Indiana to play with the Pacers.
It helps both teams. If that trade does go through and Mr. Artest decides to show up, I think it helps both teams. I think it really makes the Pacers a lot better because now they get a guy a la Reggie Miller that can play without the ball, run off screens, and knock down jump shots on a consistent basis.
We saw Eddie House hitting the shot when told of the reported deal. Eddie House said, oh, that's not a good deal for Sacramento, and his brother-in-law Mike Bibby. Tipping at the cup, Pat Burke.
Nice, and I think what Pat and everyone else has to understand on Howard, he jumps at everything, and he's not blocking a lot of shots. But just give him a head fake, let him fly by you, and maybe get him in foul trouble and get a body.
going back to Eddie House, saying not a good deal for Bibby because now that leaves Mike Bibby as the only real pure outside shooter for that Sacramento team. A lot of back-to-the-basket performers now in Sacramento.
No, Kelvin Martin's a good shooter, isn't he? That's the ugliest shot I've ever seen in my life.
He had that one good game against the Suns.
That guy needs to come see me.
They just were lighting it up. Pat Burke from the outside, straight but short, rebounded by Dooling. Pat Burke has come off the Suns bench. A couple of field goals, 4 points, and 3 rebounds. Suns have also gotten a hoop off the bench from Eddie House and James Jones. Hedo Turkoglu turns and fires over Leandro Barbosa. Pretty shot there by Turkoglu.
That's a tough defend right there for Leandro. And, I think the Suns need to take advantage of Turkoglu. He has a tough time moving without the ball defensively himself.
Turkoglu averaging 23 points over the last 2 games. Eddie House filling it up from the outside. A 2-pointer for House. And it's a 1-point game under 6.5 to play here in the second quarter.
I'm not saying the guy, Rayner, can't play. Diener? Yeah, Diener.
Mm-hmm. But I hear a but coming.
I'd light him up too. He's got to show me he can play.
Coach Brian Hill says Diener isn't afraid of anything, but he probably hasn't seen anything like Eddie House of the Suns.
I'm sure he's afraid of this quick release here. I mean, the ball was up and away from him when he finally jumped, and it was too late. Magic lead by 1.
One-point game here in the second quarter. Time now for Bud Light's What's on Tap, presented by Refreshingly Smooth. Bud Light, always worth it. Upcoming games in downtown Phoenix at U.S. Airways Center, Chicago, Minnesota, and Memphis. Tom Leander back with Eddie Johnson, and Julie Fye just came over. Of course, when we left the hotel, ESPN had the ticker saying that the Ron Artest deal was being reported, not confirmed, and now we're hearing that the deal has been called off. And Mike D'Antoni was talking about the scenario, saying that actually that trade, Peja for Ron Artest, has been on the table for 5 days, so he wasn't real sure that that deal would actually go through.
Well, and also from what I'm hearing, if it's Artest who actually forced them to call it off, I say let the guy sit. If he's going to try to dictate his way to New York or wherever he wants to get to, and I say, just let him sit.
Yep. Cannot empower a player like that. 38-37 Orlando, 6:10 to go. Pat Garrity, the one-time Sun, out there now. Pressured there by Diao and still finds the well. Nice shot, Pat Garrity. 29 years of age, now in his 8th year out of Notre Dame.
He's battled a lot of injuries over the last few years, and that's not his shot. I mean, that's a shot that he loves to hit there. That gets his jumper in rhythm, but who's in rhythm right now.
Eddie House is feeling it and filling it up here in the second quarter. House, now 3 of 4 shooting, has 6 points for the Suns, pulled within 1. Garrity has it, always a 3-point threat, and very tight with one Pat Burke as they were teammates here in Orlando. Burke spending the 02-03 season here with the Magic. Straight but short from the outside by Stevenson, tapped into the backcourt and retrieved by the 24-year-old Deshaun Stevenson. Now in his 6th season, coming straight out of high school in Fresno. Diener controlling the dribble for Brian Hill's offense. Pass batted away by Eddie House. Shot clock at 10 now for Orlando. Magic are shooting 52% from the field here in the first half. Running bank shot, tipped in there by Terrence Morris. Nash fires it up ahead now to Eddie House. Back to a 3-point Orlando lead and a foul on Stevie Francis. Trying to poke it away from Eddie House. Second personal foul now on Stevie Francis. You go back and you can talk ad nauseum about Stevie Francis and all the problems and the personal battles that he's had. And one of the biggest, and he'll admit it, is when this Orlando team traded Coutinho Mobley. He was so tight with Mobley and was just dejected when they traded him away to Sacramento last year.
I know. He said it's really going to be tough. Well, I've had a lot of friends, and I was sad that they left. It wasn't tough.
And that was one of the reasons why they separated Mobley and Francis. John Weisbrod, their general manager at the time, felt they were just too tight for the good of the team, the good of Francis. He said they needed to be broken up. 42-39 Orlando, 4.5 minutes to go. Sean Marion will check in for Phoenix at the next break and play. Terrence Morris, who was a college star at Maryland with the Terrapins, played a couple of seasons in Houston with the Rockets, and Stevie Francis there. Stevie Francis cleaning up his own mess, and he will head to the line.
The play before that, on the first attempt, I thought he kind of pushed off with his off arm on the initial drive to the basket. He's got 2 fouls and, gets a little bit of the superstar treatment here. I mean, actually pushes off a little bit on Steve Nash and then gets his own rebound.
4th personal foul assessed to Boris Diaw, who heads to the Suns bench. In comes Sean Marion. 4 personals for Diaw, who has 3 rebounds and a hoop here in the first half. And to the line goes Steve Francis.
Well, Boris needs to just put his warm-ups on, get some heat pads, because he probably will not get back into a game, probably until late in the 3rd quarter.
Oh, I thought you were talking about heat pads, get ready for the Miami Heat.
No, heat pads.
Okay. He's still got 2 more fouls to give.
Well, like I said, I don't think he's going to be able to get a foul in a while.
Yep. Nash spinning in the lane, creating, and floats it in past Travis Diener. And Nash now with another hoop. First points of the 2nd period. 5 of 7 shooting here in the half for Nash. And it's a 4-point Orlando lead. Diener creating now into the corner for Francis. Comes in averaging 16 points per game for Orlando. 2nd best on the team to Grant Hill. And from the outside, Stevie Francis pumps it home.
Well, he called Terrence Morris out, who was posting up like he was Dwight Howard. And Francis said, would you get out here and set a screen? Who do you think you are?
Nash into the lane. Gets it out to James Jones for 2. Foot was on the line for Junior.
That's okay. A lot of players get in the habit of looking down, seeing if they're in front of the 3 or behind it. Just shoot the ball where you catch it. That's where you set yourself up to receive it and shoot it. Forget about whether it's a 3 or a 2. Make the shot.
Excellent bench production for the Suns here in the first half. 16 points from Jones, Burke, and Eddie House. Pass tipped by the Predator on defense. Sean Marion up ahead. It's Eddie House. Couldn't track it down. Turnover Phoenix. And that is number 4 on the Suns. Orlando has given it up just 2 times here in the half.
Yeah, that skip bounce pass is very difficult, especially if it's a slick floor. Floors are so different in the league. You just don't know how that ball is going to react once you put it on the floor. I remember playing in the old Boston Garden. You throw a bounce pass, it might bounce backwards back to you. I mean, you have to really make sure.
Catch an edge out there on the court. Travis Diener shooting 48% from behind the line, leading all rookies. Nails that one, and it is now a 7-point lead for Orlando. That's their biggest lead so far here tonight.
I guess Diener's telling me who he is.
You better get his name right next time. You can come over and go, Eddie, come on. I played at Marquette. I played in the backcourt with Dwayne Wade. You never heard of me.
No.
That's probably because he missed most of his senior season because of a stress fracture in his foot. Then he broke 2 of his fingers, and he was done for that senior year. But Orlando saw something in him, that outside shot. Amari Stoudemire back in Orlando, high school star here in his high school days. 50-43, Orlando leading the Suns. Now you have 115 million reasons to play Powerball. Tomorrow's jackpot, an estimated $115 million. Get your tickets today, and don't forget to check for the winning numbers at ArizonaLottery.com. Now it's time for tonight's Powerball Power Play. About 3 hoops off the pine from Eddie House.
Well, Eddie House was guarded by Diener.
You're going to have Diener with him.
That's right. He's going to take him to Diener. That's exactly what he's been doing. Getting those wide open shots right there, as we know Eddie House can do, and Suns finding him in rhythm.
Orlando, though, at the other end, shooting 65% from the field here in the quarter, 11 of 17. Eddie House receives a breather, so the Suns come back with Barbosa, James Jones, Steve Nash, Sean Marion, and Raja Bell on the floor. Nash laying it up for Sean Marion, who comes crashing down. Beautiful feed once again from Nash.
Well, Sean Marion leads the league in dunks, and that's normally a category reserved to Shaquille O'Neal, who's missed a lot of games this year, but Sean Marion is running away right now with that title.
Marion in double figures now with 11, 5 of 10 shooting, and there is Pat Garrity from the outside.
Yeah, that's what he can do. And that first shot that he made, and he almost made the second one, I thought got him in rhythm, got his confidence up, and now you move him out to the 3. He can hurt you.
Sean Marion, they dare him to shoot the 3. Going back to Pat Garrity, his rookie season with the Suns, acquired by Phoenix on draft day in 1998. Phoenix acquiring Pat Garrity and a #1 pick from Dallas for Steve Nash. Nash going to the Mavericks, and by the way, that #1 pick that the Suns received turned into Sean Marion. There is Pat Garrity for 3.
Yeah, now you have to recognize now, I know the guy's 6'8", 6'9", but read the scouting report. He's not going to put it on the floor and hurt you, but he will hurt you from behind that arc.
Biggest lead for Orlando, up by 10. Back comes Raja Bell, just inside of the line for Raja. That's his first field goal of the game. Actually, they will give him. That was a three-pointer by Raja. Thought that foot was on the line, but they'll give him the three-pointer. And the Suns now have knocked in 6 here in the half. In and out from the outside, rebounded by Raja Bell. So the three-pointer by Bell, a couple of free throws. He has 5, and here comes the Brazilian blur, Leandro Barbosa, blasting in.
Yeah, you're either going to foul him or he's going to get to the rim. He got the good angle on Pat Garrity that time, and he had no choice but to let him go.
5 quick points for the Suns. Raja with the 3, and then Barbosa with the drive. Knocking the lead down to 5, 55-50, a high-scoring affair for this Orlando team. Again, coming in averaging only 92 points per game. Along the baseline, it's Petit, but he's fouled there by Sean Marion. Sean Marion gets a little smile out of that call. It's his first personal foul.
And Orlando has really got some good work out of their bench, and I think that's presented the problem for the Suns, whose bench normally will outscore you. But they've come off with some guys that's been very active, and it's allowed Brian Hill to really stay with his bench probably longer than he would have liked to. 7 points for Garrity off the bench. And then 7 combined from Diener, Terrence Morris, and Keon Dooling. Go back to the speed of LB. Well, again, here's the angle. On a big guy that's not quick, and you make him change his feet, and you're going at him full speed like Leandro does, you really have no choice other than to let him lay it up or foul.
Petit comes up short on that last free toss, 56-50 Orlando.
Suns have a 2-for-1 here.
Lob feed inside to Barbosa. Another assist from Steve Nash. He now has 8 here in the first half.
That was over the top of Diener.
Your guy is getting abused out there defensively. 56-52 now. Orlando's lead is 4. 8 seconds separating the game clock from the shot clock. Suns shooting 46% from the field so far, 55% for the Magic. With 56 on the board, and it's Garrity. Little pump fake, hesitates, and cans it.
He's so tall. I mean, Raja allows him to get in there. He's not going to block his shot. He can just shoot it on his flat foot.
And a foul in the backcourt on Diener of the Magic. And Orlando with a foul to give here in the final 10 seconds. First personal now on Diener.
Yeah, but a quick foul to give. I mean, Steve wasn't even across half court. I guess he felt that if he allowed him to take 2 more dribbles, he might blow right by him.
Final seconds of the half, and another foul. And Steve Nash will head to the line with a couple of free throws with 5 seconds to go. So you give up that foul to give, but then you better play cleanly the rest of the way.
Well, and that's why I think players outsmart themselves, because one, he did it too soon, and he wasn't even across half court. And then, why not do it when he's driving to the basket and make sure that you foul him? And then he has to take the ball out of bounds. I mean, automatically you tell Steve, okay, you can get in the penalty. Well, I'm going to put my head down and drive hard next time. And now he's at the free throw line.
Nash has missed 2 free throws here tonight. Final seconds. Here comes Dooling driving on Nash. Fires it up, banks it in, but no. The officials say the clock had run out on Keon Dooling and the Orlando Magic. They will review it. But right now, as it stands, no hoop for the Orlando Magic. Suns heading to the locker room. Steve Nash leading the way with 14 points, 8 assists. Sean Marion has already registered his 32nd double-double of the season with 11 points and 10 boards. But it's Orlando, 58-53 here at halftime. We'll hand it off to Kevin Ray and Tom Chambers, the Verizon Wireless Halftime Report, back in Phoenix. Welcome back to Orlando, the TD Waterhouse Center. Halftime here between the Suns and the Magic. Phoenix outscored Orlando 26-25 in the first quarter. And then the Magic come back 33-27 on the Suns in the second. Tom Leander back with Eddie Johnson. And my question to you is, did Mike D'Antoni and the Suns lure this Orlando team into an up-tempo game? Did they set the bait? And Orlando bites, scoring 33 points in the second quarter. They don't like high-scoring games.
I don't know if he really sets any bait. I think he just says, guys, just continue to run. They're going to try to slow us down, but you just continue to push it. And normally our will overcome what they would want to do. It's only one team I've seen that can really control the Suns' tempo, and that's San Antonio. Everyone else finally just gives into it, and I thought the Magic did as well.
Time for the winners board here at halftime, brought to you by Gila River Casinos, where the winners play. And take a look at some of the big number players of the first half. Sean Marion mentioned that's his 32nd double-double of the season, 11 points, 10 boards. The Suns crashing the offensive glass as a team had 10. Steve Nash, 6 of his 8 assists coming in the second quarter, and Eddie House off the bench, the Suns bench, contributing 20 points.
Yeah, and it's been a little difficult for Eddie House with Leandro back. Not the minutes aren't as pure as it was, but he still finds an ability to make himself present, and that's huge for the Orlando Magic.
Take a look at the numbers for Orlando. They also received quite a bit of bench production from Pat Garrity, the one-time Sun, 9 points in 6 minutes of play, all 9 points coming in the second quarter.
Yeah, but they got it going, I thought, with Dwight Howard, Tom, just inside. His presence inside forced the Suns to collapse defensively and gave guys like Garrity and Steve Francis room to operate out on the perimeter. So they got into a very good rhythm. They have to feel good about what they did in the first half. They're up 5 points. I think they understand that the Suns can run off and go on a 20-0 run right away. But to score 58 points, they have to feel good.
Eddie, anything but a magical season for Orlando. Grant Hill, we talked about the sports hernia. He's still out. The suspensions to Dooling, to Francis, more injuries with Jameer Nelson, who was out. But you go back to draft day. They had the 11th pick in the draft, and they selected from Spain, 6'11", Fran Vasquez. He was in New York for the draft. He then was selected by the Magic, visited Orlando, took a picture in front of Grant Hill's locker. But what happened? He ended up signing a new 4-year deal to play in Spain. So Orlando comes away with the 11th pick, but no player.
Yeah, and I think Orlando was just a victim of the NBA rookie contract limits, to where wherever you're drafted, that's what you get. Well, you know, teams in Europe, they know now that maybe if you go anywhere from 10 down, that they have an opportunity to maybe offer you a little bit better package than what you would get in your first contract in the NBA. And, you know, a guy like that who knows he can go over there and get that kind of money and then only play twice a week, it's hard to turn it down.
Orlando may have been duped as Vasquez used the Magic and that selection as leverage to secure a new 10-year contract. The Magic still own the rights to Fran Vasquez, but the question is, will he ever play here for the Magic? Rebound inside to Tony Battie, the general managers, co-GMs here in Orlando, Dave Twardzik and Otis Smith, and that's a big-time blunder, although, again, all indications were that Fran Vasquez wanted to play in the NBA and here with Orlando. Down low, it's Dwight Howard. Another muscle move, but couldn't finish. Rebound to Sean Marion, and for Marion, that is now rebound number 12.
Howard very close to that 5-second rule and backing down to the defender.
Oh, Nash dissecting the D. A beautiful dish inside to Kurt Thomas. And that is the first hoop of the night for Kurt Thomas. He had the 3 early offensive rebounds for the Suns, who have now cut the lead to 3. Biggest advantage for Orlando in this one has been 10. Suns led by 3 themselves at one point. The foul down low on Kurt Thomas, and that now for Kurt Thomas is number 2.
Well, you know, Kurt has to get involved, especially if Howard's going to guard him. You have to make him play defense and try to wear him down a little bit. Let's see if he can get Kurt some opportunities early on in this second half.
You know, we raved about the play of Dwight Howard, talked about that 21 rebound performance, the youngest player ever in NBA history to score 20 points and devour 20 rebounds in the game. There is Hedo Turkoglu. He has a little muscle himself inside.
Yeah, as tough as Raja is, I mean, I think when he has to guard guys like Turkoglu, and, you know, he's giving up about 20, 25 pounds, it's just very difficult.
Foul there, Turkoglu tracking Raja Bell. And over the summer, Hedo Turkoglu, who is the first ever Turkish-born player in the NBA, had to finish out his military commitment in Turkey. So my question to you, is what actually was that job? I would think it was a desk job for a guy who's 6'10".
I don't know. You know, I mean, I played in Europe for a year. I think I had a couple of teammates that was in the Greek army, and they said they make them work a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, they'd have to lift more than just a pencil.
If he was lifting a pencil, he was probably giving out autographs to the rest of the Turkish army. 60-55, Hedo Turkoglu and Orlando with the lead. Foul there on Dwight Howard, and that's his first personal. And Raja Bell inbounding it now to Nash. Nash with 14 points leading the Suns. And then a foul again. Orlando starting to get a little testy here with the calls.
Well, you know, it really doesn't mean anything if the Suns don't continue to try to take advantage of it. I mean, you know, right now they're getting very close to being in the bonus of 2 more fouls. They have 1 more free one to give.
Nash hung up in the air. Nearly went up and down with it. And here is Barbosa waiting for the Kurt Thomas screen. Again, Borski out with 4 personal fouls, and tissue soft along the baseline for Leandro Barbosa.
Not too many people can really execute that shot. I mean, think about it. He's going full speed at the target, a big guy in front of him, but yet he has to get it up and over the guy softly.
Injecting even more confidence in the game, and Sean Marion felt he was there defensively, had all ball, but he's hit with a personal, and that's number 2 on Sean.
You know, Sean rarely gets a technical foul, and I don't know if he even have one this year. And, you know, he argues, but he argues in such a nice way that I think the officials just like, oh, he's okay.
He won't be mad. He won't get mad at this. Right there on the wrist, pretty close there for Marion. But, you know, we've talked about that too. The new intensity for Sean Marion this season. You know, having to step up his numbers, scoring, rebounding with Amari Stoudemire out, but playing with that newfound madness to his game.
Well, I think, one, he's gotten bigger. He's gotten a little bit stronger. You know, if you remember Sean from early on in his career and now, I mean, you're looking at about a 20-pound difference there. So, you know, when you put on the weight and you get stronger, you do get confident.
Flips it over to Nash. Big shot absolutely for Steve Nash from Sean Marion in the zone with AutoZone. Another $100 to Phoenix Suns Charities. And Steve Nash now 6 of 8 shooting, has 17 points.
I think the Suns need a run. I mean, they really haven't had a run in this game that you'd like to see. And you don't want to go to the 4th quarter with the opportunity for Brian Hill to try to slow down the tempo.
Oh, beautiful alley-oop feed. Stevie Francis to the franchise here in Orlando, Dwight Howard. Going back to Steve Nash, that last 3-pointer is his 4th of the night. 4 of his 6 field goals behind the line. Hangs in the lane and finds Sean Marion, who gives it a home.
How did he know he was there?
Telepathy. And another double-double for Steve Nash. 14 double-doubles in his last 16 games. He has 10 assists. Deshaun Stevenson with a direct hit. Back to a 4-point lead for Orlando, nearing the 8:40 mark here of the 3rd quarter. Steve Nash gives it off to Marion, and he's hacked in the act there by Steve Francis. And to the line will go Sean Marion.
Well, the lob play is huge. I mean, it has really become a part of basketball with the athletic players that you have. And then the little dish from Steve Nash to Sean. I mean, just feeds him Dina.
Feeds him Travis Dina. Sean has led the Phoenix Suns in scoring now, Eddie. Last 6 games. 6 straight for Sean, and 8 straight he scored 20 or more.
Yeah, and Sean's big thing is, well, man, I want more plays. Well, when you have plays run to you, that means defenses can find a way to stop you because they know where you're going to be. And you don't have a play, and you're just getting your points in the rhythm, it's hard to defend.
2-point lead for Francis and the Magic, and an offensive foul. Steve Nash taking a hard hit and slow to get up. Helped off the floor by Kurt Thomas. There is no questioning the talent of Stevie Francis, but many times volatile, many times out of control.
Well, really a guy that's a point guard that plays like a 2. I mean, his mentality is that of a 2 guard, and you know, the NBA has a lot of them, and they have to change their games. And, you know, he is just such a presence on his team. It's tough for a coach to go to him and say, I want to take the ball out of your hand.
Francis barking over there along the sidelines as he went to the Orlando bench after picking up his 4th personal foul. Magic with the ball, leading by 2. Petit pushing off of Sean Marion, trying to gain inside position. A bump and a foul on Barbosa, and a hoop for Deshaun Stevenson.
Well, to me, they really don't have a point guard on the floor. I mean, you know, Keon Dooling is a guy that, you know, he's out there and that's his position, but he really doesn't play like a point. He likes to really penetrate and score himself. So, you know, I think the Suns can really do some things defensively here to really force his hand when he comes down and tries to run the ball play. 3-point
play by Deshaun Stevenson. Mentioned that he came straight out of high school. Actually had signed a letter of intent to go play at Kansas along with Drew Gooden. Instead opted for the NBA. It's Barbosa for 3. And he's hitting rock bottom for the Suns. Another 3-pointer for Phoenix. They are now 8 of 17 from behind the line. And another $100 to Suns Charities from AutoZone. 2-point game and a traveling violation on Hito Turkoglu of the Magic.
That's that Turkish travel. He's used to doing that over in Europe. Yeah, give you that extra half a step.
The turkey travel, I like that. 7.5 minutes to go here in the third. Suns with a chance to tie or take the lead with a 3. Nash has already hit 4 3-pointers in this game in 6 attempts. Barbosa, his pass into the corner for Marion for 3. Suns take the lead. Absolutely for Sean Marion. In the zone with AutoZone, another $100 to Suns Charities. That is number 9 on the night.
Sean staring over at the Magic bench. Somebody must have said something. He turned around and said, "What you say? Did you say all net?"
Take that, and the Suns up 70-69. Top of the key, it's Dooling, the combo guard. You're right, he can play the point, but maybe more comfortable in that 2 spot.
Yeah, that's what he wants to do. Yeah, I think you just have to make him put it down and be creative.
And one of the best friends in the NBA have won Eddie House. Eddie House and Keon Dooling very tight, going back to their time together in Los Angeles with the Clippers. Here comes Keon Dooling. Between the legs, drives on Nash, hangs in the air, and boarded there by Kurt Thomas. On the run out, Barbosa, but the pass stolen at midcourt by Batie. Howard drives right in and over Kurt Thomas. Marion going for the slap and picks up the personal foul. That is number 3 on Marion, and to the line will go the ferocious Dwight Howard.
I'm trying to figure out why Steve Nash couldn't get that rebound. Now look, seriously. Now this Kurt Thomas took the foul. Look at Steve. He's got the inside position.
Let's see here. Nash 6'3", Dwight Howard 6'11".
Hey, no, Steve can get that rebound.
Jerks down. How many 13 rebounds a night. Yep.
Oh, I'm telling you,
that's a mismatch. That's a heavyweight against a flyweight.
Hercules coming over there. I don't blame Steve.
Dwight Howard said before the season, too, he hopes to take part in the NBA slam dunk competition.
No.
Yep, because he has a dunk that he calls Kiss the Rim Dunk.
Well, if he doesn't make the All-Star game, just kiss going somewhere else and relax yourself. You're not winning You're not winning a dunk contest. A dunk contest is not meant for guys that's already 6'10". As good as Amari, I think Amari's gotten the closest as I've seen since Larry Nance. And Larry Nance was 6'10", but Larry Nance played like a 2-guard. Different story.
Still want to see the Kiss the Dunk jam. The rebound there by Howard. Kiss the rim. Is he just going to elevate that high? Could be something to watch. All-Star game coming up in Houston. Hedo Turkoglu backs down on Raja Bell.
Yeah, again, I repeat it. I mean, Raja will have success against most people, but when he's got to guard a guy 6'8", 6'9", and strong, it's tough.
Suns had the lead. Orlando comes back with 6 in a row. Both teams hot shooting here in the third. Too strong for Kurt Thomas.
Yeah, well, not a lot of attempts for Kurt in this game. That's his 4th attempt, or 3rd attempt in the ball game, so the rhythm is not there.
You know, he's been flying under the radar offensively for the Suns over the past couple of weeks. Really concentrating on the defense and the rebounding. Keon Dooling from the outside. Late pressure from Nash. Inside position by Kurt Thomas, who tips it over to Steve Nash. 5:15 to go here in the third. Orlando up by 5. Nash going to work on Dooling, and now it's Raja Bell. Nash into the lane, sets up Kurt Thomas. All alone from the outside, and down it goes for Kurt Thomas.
Yeah, and he needs it, because if Batie and Howard are going to continue to help out on Steve Nash, then Kurt Thomas is going to play a huge part in this basketball game. He and Boris Diaw when he eventually gets back in. I told you it'd be a while.
You were right. Nash has picked up now 11 assists on the night. Goes to double team Howard, who starts throwing some elbows, and it's Turkoglu for 3.
He's just giving Raja a dose of everything right now, and Raja's saying, well, I'll give you that because you've been really handling me down low, and he drains the 3 as well.
13 points now for Turkoglu. 5 of 7 shooting. Nash quickly inside Kurt Thomas, right-handed hook. Tipped into the air by Marion and pulled away by Tony Batie. Rebounding dead even at 28 apiece for these two teams. Suns had the early advantage on the boards in that first quarter. Keon Dooling now gets it over to Stevenson. Back to Dooling. Defended now by Marion. Lobs it inside. The pass tipped away by Kurt Thomas. Here come the Suns on the run, and the foul at midcourt, an intentional foul on Dooling, putting a stop to that Suns fast break opportunity.
That was an excellent foul there by Dooling, because the Suns would have had an easy opportunity on the other end. Magic playing very well, Tom. I mean, they're doing a lot of things to disrupt what the Suns want them to do, and Turkoglu has really been on fire, and they have to find a way to cool him down.
78-72 Magic here in the third quarter. How would you like 2 Suns tickets for the price of 1? Tonight only, the Suns are offering fans half-price tickets for February 6th when the Suns host KG and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Save 50% off single game tickets right now. Visit Suns.com to take advantage of this great offer to see the hottest game in town, the Phoenix Suns, going after win number 27 of the season. Tonight marking the halfway point of this season. So if they win 27, on their way to quite possibly a 54-win season.
Well, no one thought that they'd get to 27 this quickly. And if you look at some of the games they've had this year, Tom, where it's been close affairs, I mean, it can just as easily be about 33 or 34. And, you know, you never look back on games that you've lost because you can't really correct them. You just learn from them. But, you know, to be in a position to put their record right there at the halfway point is unbelievable.
It really is. Just a clarification, too, you saw a phone number there on your screen, but the Suns are asking you to visit Suns.com, not to call that phone number, but visit Suns.com to take advantage of that ticket offer. Half-price tickets for the game against Minnesota. And, Eddie, I don't know if we'll see this again in our lifetime.
Well,
Steve Nash missing for a 3rd time here from the line.
Well, what it goes to show you is rhythm is everything on the free throw line. And I remember the year that I shot over 90%. I mean, I went through stretches where I would go, you know, 2 for 5 and 2 for 6 because you can get out of rhythm in a hurry. And that's why it's important to stay there.
And it's just crazy, too, because you look at his free throw shooting here tonight, 2 of 5. You say, all right, an off shooting night for Steve Nash. He is 4 of 6 from three-point range.
Yeah, well, you know, it goes to show you the free throw is a different animal. I mean, there's no defense there. It's all you and the rim. And so now it's all about rhythm and confidence.
And to the line goes Turkoglu of the Magic. And he now gives them the 6-point advantage here, 3:52 to go. Both teams in the penalty situation, rest of the way here in the third quarter. And hold on, before the free throw by Turkoglu, they will stop action. And Michael Smith will rearrange the players and give it back to Turkoglu, 26 years of age. And signing as a free agent with Orlando, now his 2nd season here with the Magic. A coveted free agent, number of teams out there wanting those shooting skills. And again, marked improvement in his defense after the short stint with the San Antonio Spurs. Diao looking for Marion. There they are again, the dynamic duo. 3D to the matrix.
That is a very difficult play to guard, obviously, because it always works.
You have to figure they see that on the scouting tape, but there just must be no way to defend it other than just grabbing Sean Marion before he elevates.
Well, and that's the problem, too. I mean, Sean elevates so quickly. I mean, it's very difficult to get there.
Steal by Marion, and Barbosa could not quite finish at the cup. Rams right into the backstop, and we'll head to the free throw line.
You know, one thing, Boris always has his head up. And again, Petit is worried about Boris Diaw coming off for the score and allows Sean to be there. And then Sean with the long arms just picks it off, and Leandro going hard to the basket.
And a hard foul there on Tony Petit. And there is Barbosa back at the line for Phoenix, trying to improve their percentage. Is 50% from the line so far here tonight. For Leandro Barbosa, his scoring average has doubled, nearly doubled from last season, and would certainly make him a candidate for one of the NBA's most improved players this season. Averaging about 14 points per game and shooting 45% from three-point range so far this year. Barbosa amidst the knee injuries. 3-point game now for Orlando, and their lead nearing the 3-minute mark here of the third. In the corner, it's Dooling along the baseline, hangs in the air, looking for Petit, and hold on. A foul on a 3-second violation on Dwight Howard in the lane.
You know, and they really, I thought, held the fort together with Francis out of the lineup. They really, their bench as a whole has really done an excellent job of just staying in the game.
Getting used to not having Stevie Francis around following some of those suspensions and problems that he's had. Again, also without Grant Hill and Jameer Nelson here this evening. Boris Diaw from the outside, straight but short. Turkoglu had it momentarily. Pop free by Raja Bell, and there is Sean Marion along the baseline. Give credit to Raja Bell sticking with that offensive rebound.
You know, talk about Sean Marion's form or not, but the guy can make any shot on the court, and so that elevates him above a lot of small forwards in the league.
Ripping the cords from the outside, Keon Dooling. Marion now with 22 for the Suns. 82-79 Orlando. 2:15 and counting here in the third. Nash for three, and the rebound of Deshaun Stevenson. So the Suns finishing out this third quarter with Barbosa, Nash, Marion, Boris Diaw, and Raja Bell. The small ball lineup on the court. Another direct hit. Keon Dooling in Orlando. Inside of 2 minutes to go here in the third.
They are definitely playing with a lot of confidence. I mean, it's a team that's won 6 in a row at home. They're shooting the ball well on their floor in their stretch. And 3 in a row overall. I mean, they're really holding themselves together despite the key injuries that they've had to live with.
Looking for their 7th straight home win. Keon Dooling, who spent last season in Miami with the Heat, had some of his best games in the playoffs. Raja Bell along the baseline, nails it. Raja Bell in the face of pressure from Turkoglu.
Yeah, and I think if I'm the Suns and Steve, I think I'd try to run Raja off a few screens because I don't think Turkoglu can really chase him around.
Again, Raja Bell playing with a thigh injury that he sustained last week in a game in Los Angeles against the Clippers. Aggravated that injury and was questionable going into this game. Marion from the outside comes up shy.
Well, faded back on. You know, a lot of times you can feel good about your game and have the confidence, but when you fade back on your shot, you're almost shooting at a moving target.
Dooling has it now, working off a Batiste screen. Nash on the chase, hits the floor after hitting the Batiste screen. It's Turkoglu from the outside. Time winding down on the shot clock. Tipped out of there by Boris Diaw. Here come the Suns on the run.
Should have numbers.
Nash goes airborne on the pass. Rams into Keon Dooling, and that's an offensive foul on Steve Nash of the Suns. So Orlando will have it with 50 seconds to go here in the third quarter when we come back. It's Orlando 84, the Suns 81. Tom Leander, Eddie Johnson back with you from Orlando. 50 seconds to go here in the third, with the Magic leading 84-81. And you take a look at this Orlando team coming in third place in the Southeast Division, 6.5 games behind the Heat, while they're 6 games under 500.
Well, that's the one thing about playing in the East. I mean, it's going to be a few teams that will be in the running to make the playoffs, and they're under 500. That's just the nature of it. And I know before the season, people were saying where it's starting to turn, where the Eastern Conference is better than the West. Well, I say not yet. It's still a ways to go.
This Orlando team missing out on the playoffs the last 2 seasons, won just 36 games last year, and bring in Brian Hill for his second go-round as head coach of this Orlando team. Last season, they had Johnny Davis and then Chris Gent as their 2 head coaches. So third coach, second season. Rebound to Boris Diaw. Suns have it at the 32nd mark here of the third quarter. Nash shut down there by Howard. Diener, hand in the face of Nash. Sean Marion high above the crowd for the offensive rebound.
I tell you, if we can see a replay of that whole thing, how it transpired, I tell you, you'll see the beauty of Sean Marion. I mean, he basically went from one side of the court to the other to get that rebound, and now he's rewarded again with a dunk.
Marion with the crush off the Boris Diaw feed, which you're right, just so special. And every night, Mr. Consistency, Sean Marion there for the Suns. 24 points and 14 rebounds here at the tail end of the third quarter.
You know, and the key for young players is when you watch Sean, don't become enamored with all his rebounds. He probably goes after about 40 rebounds. That's why he gets 14. So it's not like he gets them all. You know, you have to go after a lot of them in order to get the kind of numbers that he's been getting.
Seconds tick away here in the third quarter. And we are headed to the fourth and final period here from Orlando, with the Magic leading the Suns by 1. Marion has the 24 and 14. Nash has the double-double, 18 points and 11 assists. And in that third quarter, Suns outscoring the Magic 30-26. And you are watching Phoenix Suns basketball on UPN 45.
Welcome back to the TD Waterhouse Center. The Suns trail 84-83. Let's check tonight's Jack in the Box inside the box score. offensive rebounding. The Suns have gotten their share. Steve Nash, another double-double to go along with Sean Marion's 24-13 in the third quarter. And speaking of Sean Marion, the beauty of Sean Marion, if you don't watch the game by just watching the ball, watch Sean Marion, who moves off of the screen. He goes over to the weak side, can't get it over there, comes back to the strong side, and gets the rebound. Again, in order to get 14 rebounds, 15 rebounds like he's been getting, you have to go after about 30 of them, and then you get rewarded with a high percentage shot.
Look at the amount of real estate that Sean Marion covered on that one possession.
Most players won't do it. I mean, most players are either one side of the floor or the other. This guy plays all sides, and that's why you don't want to run plays for him, because if you do, you isolate him on one side, and he can't really do what he does to help your team.
Francis begins the fourth quarter with the drive right down the lane. And now Eddie House has it for Phoenix, beginning this fourth quarter along with Barbosa, Diao, Marion, and James Jones, who has it in the corner. Back to Barbosa, swing it over to Diao. Good look from the right side. Down it goes for 3D.
Didn't hesitate. You know, a lot goes to say when you don't hesitate, your confidence level is a lot higher and you focus in on your target instead of thinking about other things you can do with the basketball.
You're trying to forget about those 4 early personal fouls that he picked up. Now tracking Dwight Howard, who finishes with the left, and that is foul number 5 on Diao, who is dumbstruck in the lane. He cannot believe that was a personal foul. Number 5 now on Boris.
Well, you know, Howard is getting superstar calls. I mean, he really is. I don't see any contact here. I mean, Boris Diaw's earned a reputation in this league he can defend. And where's the foul? I mean, that is as ticky-tack on a big guy as you can get. I mean, it's nothing there, man.
Takes him right out of the ball game with that 5th personal foul.
Well, I tell you, I mean, Mark Ayotte. I don't too much point out officials, but I guarantee you when you look back at the replay of that one, you will know you were wrong.
Pat Garrity with the offensive rebound as he went to the Suns bench. Boris talking over to Ayat, saying, hey, watch the elbow. I took an elbow to the gut from Howard. So very diplomatically stated by Boris Diaw. Howard going to work now on Kurt Thomas. Back out to Francis, defended by Barbosa. Pulls back, and the rebound to James Jones.
They must have moved the rim a little bit to the left.
Eddie House gets it over now to Kurt Thomas. Here comes Eddie, firing away from the outside. Rebound tipped out of there by James Jones, and a blocking foul on Eddie House.
That's a good foul. I mean, you know, because it gives the Suns a chance to set up their defense.
Going back to Sean Marion and what he did in that third quarter, Marion had 13 points and 4 rebounds in the period.
You know, but the disappointing thing here is the Suns still trail. You know, and so despite all the runs and the good many opportunities they've had, I mean, they still trail in this basketball game.
But again, have to like the pace of play that they've lured this Orlando team into, despite trailing by 3. Turkoglu into the lane with the left hand, ripped out of there by Marion. Consumes another rebound, number 15. And then down low, battling for position, Kurt Thomas and Dwight Howard. It's Howard hit with a personal. That is number 3 on the second-year player out of high school in Atlanta. And if indeed Dwight Howard is able to win the rebounding title this season, he would become the youngest ever to do so at the age of 20. Wilt Chamberlain, first time he did it, was 23. There goes the blur, Leandro Barbosa. And we have a 1-point ball game here in the fourth.
Can you imagine Howard playing in high school at that size? I mean, I wouldn't even let my son play against him.
Can you imagine those the college coaches that called trying to recruit him? You're learning about that life. From the outside, it's Diener, and the rebound to Kurt Thomas. Eddie House into the corner, tripped up there by Francis, and he hits the floor.
That's a technical foul. I mean, you know, you can't be sometimey there. You really can't. And one of the things I know officials will do, they will tee up a guy for being that theatrical after a foul. And so that's amazing that they allowed him to get away with that one. I mean, I know I've been teed up many a times in my career by just doing something less than that. I mean, I agree with him. I mean, it was a touchy touch foul, but it's either out of bounds on Eddie House or a foul on Steve Francis. And so, you know, you can't say it's out of bounds on Eddie House.
Overly theatrical, and now heading to the bench with a 5th personal foul. That's the difference between the two players. You see Boris Diaw, how he handled the missed call down low, and there's Stevie Francis.
Yeah, but I agree with you, Tom, but then in the defense of that as well, as Kurt Thomas is battling, is Steve Francis knows that they have a chance to win, he's got to be on the floor.
Yep. No question about it. They're picking up that early flagrant foul on Raja Bell. Here's Hito Turkoglu on the line for 2 for Hito.
Yeah, and Eddie House on the rotation. I don't know if I would run at Dina, then maybe fake at him and say, you know what, young guy, you hit it. I'm not going to allow Hito Turkoglu, who's played deep into the playoffs, to take that shot on the weak side.
And who's shooting 70% from the field here tonight. The shot by Marion knocked off the glass. Goaltending call on Dwight Howard.
You know, when you double team, I think as the guy that rotates, and I was always in that situation, is you have to be almost a quarterback on the weak side. You have to say, okay, I'm going to give that guy a shot, not this guy. And so you have to be definitive on who you want to take the shot on the weak side.
They give it to Turkoglu once again, this time into the lane, slapped away by Marion. Fans wanted a call, and here come the Suns on the run. Barbosa blasting in for 2 more. You cannot stop the Blur with a full head of steam. Timeout, Orlando. The Suns have taken the lead. Fans still wanting a call against Marion, who chopped at the ball, knocked it loose, and at the other end, Barbosa taking it home.
Well, I thought it was all ball. I don't know why they were complaining. They've gotten away with a lot of opportunities tonight in fouls, and Leandro just put Pat Garrity on the highway and just went right by him.
Suns shooting 67% from the field here in the 4th quarter, have taken a 1-point lead. Time now for tonight's APS Power matchup. APS, the power to make it happen. The Grizzlies and the Heat at halftime. It's Miami leading by 1. That's the next stop for the Suns Thursday night. Suns against Dwayne Wade, Shaquille O'Neal, and Miami. Of course, Dwayne Wade was not able to play in the first matchup between the Suns and the Heat in Phoenix. Of course, you can watch that game Thursday night right here on UPN 45. Go back to the no call. Sean Marion stripping Turkoglu.
Well, you know, he got ball initially, and then he got a lot of arm. And so, you know, I guess the officials have much better eyesight than most of everyone else.
My point being, if that was Boris Diaw, he's hit with a personal foul right there. Marion has earned the reputation as a very strong defender in this league. Another crack at it for Orlando, and a foul on the shot attempt will send Howard to the line.
Suns in a hurry to run and left the basketball behind, and Howard obviously not fast enough to even try to run with them. He was right there, Johnny, on the spot to pick up the loose basketball.
Sean Marion tagged with his 3rd personal foul. Marion 26 points, 15 rebounds. You see Dwight Howard 1 rebound away from another double-double. We would talk about Howard and how much strength he has added. He said when he came in as a rookie last year, Eddie, quite a physical specimen, he said he couldn't even bench press 185 pounds.
Well, it doesn't surprise me because who does bench press a lot in high school? I mean, you know, when I left to go to college, I was a $185. So, I mean, you know, that's just natural. But the strength has always been there, and somebody woke it up for him.
Now they're going to call a carrying violation on Barbosa of the Suns.
Well, see, I don't know about that call there, because he lost the basketball and he just went and picked it up. I can see if he picked it up and dribbled it, or caught it and can continue to dribble, then you make that call. But how can you call that and you just lose the ball and go pick it up?
1-point game here in the 4th quarter, a tie game at 91. It was a 1-point game. Howard hit the free throw, 1 of 2, and back comes Orlando with the ball, trying to take the lead once again. Their biggest advantage has been 10 here tonight. Turkoglu from the outside, straight but short. The rebound to Eddie House.
Good
Steve
rotation.
Nash still on the Suns bench here in the 4th quarter. Thrown to the floor there, Kurt Thomas.
Yeah, Kurt's got to go to the acting school, though. He's got to go to the Derek Fisher School of Acting.
Eddie House filling it up from the outside.
You know when you have a really solid team is when guys know when it's your time. And Eddie House has really convinced his teammates that, you know what, the 4th quarter is my time. And so be prepared that I'm going to shoot it. And I think all the guys understand that.
They go back to Howard. trying to back down on Kurt Thomas. 5 on the shot clock for Dooling. Into the lane. Poked away by Barbosa, who was there defensively. And let's see who was hit with the personal.
I think Leandro might have gotten it, but, Leandro has to learn to trust his shot block. Kurt Thomas was there. If you get beat on the dribble, and it's no chance that you're going to be able to block it, then allow Kurt Thomas to maybe block, or if he has to foul him, he does. Just don't automatically assume that the guy's going to make the layup, because Dooling has missed a couple of layups already and going to the basket.
They signaled 15. There is no 15 on the floor, but it was Leandro Barbosa, number 10, who picks up his second personal foul. And checking in now for Orlando is Bettee. Checking out, Dwight Howard. So I mentioned to finish that point on Howard, bench pressed 185 pounds last year. Now it's up to 285.
Yeah, and he's still not halfway there.
Yep.
Because by my senior year in college, I was about 300.
I'm just gonna let that go by.
Seriously. I was squatting about 450.
A challenge the validity of that one. 93-92. Here comes Barbosa, rejected by Bettee. Garrity out there now to Diener for 3.
Well, James Jones should have picked that pass off. That pass was laid out there for him.
A frustrated Mike D'Antoni calling a timeout. Travis Diener dialing in to give Orlando the 2-point lead here in the 4th.
Well, Suns have to have their work cut out.
Don't be surprised if when we come back, Steve Nash is back on the floor for the Suns.
I'm sure he will be.
2-point game here in the 4th quarter. Orlando 95-93 over the Suns. Tonight's High Flyers presented by Southwest Airlines, official airline of the NBA. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom. Captain Eddie Johnson aboard.
A lot of dunks in this basketball game. I tell you, this big guy right here just moves people out like Shaquille O'Neal. Suns will see him tomorrow. And Sean Marion, he leads the league in dunks, so expect him to get at least 3 or 4 every game. That's around his average inside, but Howard has been huge. Without anyone in there to really match his strength, he has gotten it done, but Sean Marion has matched his effort under the paint. In the paint, rather.
And Steve Nash back out on the floor for the Suns out of that timeout. Takes the handoff from Boris Diaw. Nash, the ultimate closer. Here he comes with the left hand.
Gee, that was a layup line. That was like he was warming up. Kind of hurt himself on that play, though.
He crashed to the floor earlier in this game, was slow to get up. Nash now 20 points to go along with those 11 assists. Tied up at 95. First of 6 on the road in 10 days for the Suns. Turkoglu from the outside. You need to pressure that shot.
Yeah, you got to make him put it. You got to make him drive. He is just set. He's doing, and Boris has 5 fouls, so it's tough for him to do anything.
Raja Bell lighting up the 3-pointer for the Suns. In the zone with AutoZone, another $100 at Suns Charities. And for Phoenix here tonight, that is 3-pointer number 10.
And one thing the Magic, I'm sure, understand about the Suns, they make big shots, and they never go away. And if they watched highlights of the Seattle game, they understand that.
Turkoglu does put it on the floor. The outside game, the inside game. Mr. Versatility, Hedo Turkoglu, now with 24.
And it's been an easy 24 in a sense where he really hasn't had to work a lot. He's really just got great looks.
Nash into the lane, met there by Garrity, then throws it away.
Yeah, 2 guys over there, threw it right in the middle of both of them.
Turnover number 8, both teams with 8 turnovers here in this game. Pretty clean affair in the turnover department by the Suns and the Magic. Orlando comes in 11-9 here at home, and 6 straight. Turkoglu back-to-back buckets for the Magic. Another timeout called by D'Antoni. Turkoglu now with 26 points, taking over this game for the Magic.
Well, I'm trying to figure out here. Boris Diaw, Sean Marion involved in a 2-man game. Why not switch? You might as well switch. You have you basically the same size of player. You should automatically jump out and switch that. He'll allow Diaw this. Turkoglu just go right to the bucket.
The The Magic have hit their last 5 field goals, 3 from Turkoglu. This week's Southwest Airlines featured destination is, how about Disney World? Go to southwest.com for air, car, and hotel deals in Disney World right here in Orlando. Specials available through Thursday. Eddie, let's quickly go through a timeline with the Orlando Magic and what has happened to this franchise. In the finals in 1995, Shaq leaves in 96. Brian Hill fired in a players' revolt led by Penny Hardaway, who was then sent to the Suns. But I want to punctuate in 2001, the trade, Bo Outlaw on a first-round pick to the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix giving up Judd Bushler for Outlaw, who had a hefty contract in the time, and a first-round pick that wound up being Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah, that was huge. Whew. Think they'd love to have Amari here?
Wow.
Back in his hometown? Too late.
Yeah. I don't think they'd have Dwight Howard because they would have had too many wins to get that first overall pick. Nash setting up Diao right down Main Street looking for Marion. And the ball tipped out of bounds with 7 on the shot clock.
Yeah, you know, the scouting report on Boris, I'm sure, is if he puts it on and he drives, he's looking to pass. And probably had the left-hand layup on that particular play.
But ever the unselfish one. Suns now will have it out of bounds. Raja Bell looking for Marion, instead finds Nash along the baseline, feeds Boris Diaw, kills the dribble, leans in, tough shot, grabs his own rebound. A magical move inside by Diaw with the finish.
Well, the shooter knows more than anyone where the ball's coming off first. And so Boris obviously knew it was short, got there and put it in.
You don't see that very often. Underhanded finger roll foul there by Diaw, and fouled at the other end. Now Keon Dooling.
Foul number 13, Steve Nash.
Take a look at the penalty situation. The Suns are in the penalty. 2 team fouls so far on Orlando. And to the line goes Keon Dooling. He was originally drafted by this Orlando franchise, 10th overall back in 2000, but they shipped him to LA and the Clippers on draft day, along with Corey Maggette for a future first-round pick. That's when they were trying to clear their salary cap to make room for Grant Hill and Tracy McGrady.
Yeah, and both of those guys aren't around. McGrady's gone. Grant Hill just been battling injury after injury.
102-100 after the Dooling miss.
You'd like to think if this game comes down to the last 2 minutes, the Suns have more experience at close games and what to do than the Magic.
They haven't been able to finish off those multiple overtime games, though, this season. Nash, tracked by 3 defenders, ambushed over there, goes out of bounds, and Phoenix will still have it with 9 on the shot clock. 102-100. We told you at the outset that the Magic, they are 0-13 when their opponent scores 100 points.
Well, let's stop the telecast and go home.
Brian Hill would like nothing better to make that 1-13. Inside, Boris Diaw opens up the side door. Sean Marion trying to save it, but does to Orlando and Keon Dooling. Here comes Turkoglu. Shut down there by Raja Bell.
That's what I say. Just get it out of Turkoglu's hands. Make someone else beat you. And I'm even saying make Steve Francis beat you. He hasn't had good rhythm, but Turkoglu has been just ridiculous.
So they slap Raja Bell on the hot hand. Turkoglu, but now in a switch, it's Barbosa. Barbosa poking it free, no whistle. Here come the Suns. Chance to tie or take the lead. It's Raja Bell for 2. Jerked out of there by Battie. 3:40 to go here in the 4th. Suns come in 10-7 on the road this season. They are 11-3 against Eastern Conference teams, but trailing by 2. 10 on the shot clock. Francis lobbing it up, tipped away. Off the glass into the hands of Nash, and he's fouled there by Dooling, once again thwarting a Suns fast break opportunity. Number 3 on Dooling.
Yeah, and they play smart in that area. I think obviously that's something that they worked on and talked about in their shoot around today, is that, you know, let's use our fouls wisely, and if they get a break, let's reach out and foul them. I mean, and most young players don't understand. I mean, the reason that, you know, they look at the foul as a negative in the category. It's really not. If you use your fouls well and then smartly, they can really pay dividends for you.
Confident Orlando team here tonight, despite being 6 games under 500, winners of 3 in a row. Bell into the corner, Sean Marion for 3. In and out, and the rebound right into the lap of Dwight Howard.
The Suns' last 2 shots have been home runs, and Orlando came in one of the weakest teams at blocking shots. I think a foray to the basket is not bad either.
29th double-double now for Dwight Howard, who just Picked up rebound number 10, and he is slapped at the cup by Sean Marion, who picks up his 5th personal foul.
Well, Sean got caught on the high side, and to get caught on the high side of a guy as big as Howard, you might as well just hail a cab and try to get around him.
Check that.
It's just too long to get there.
That is personal foul number 4 on Marion, and Howard to the line for 2. Boris Diaw has 5 for Phoenix. And here is Howard, 61% from the free throw line this season,
Yeah,
7 of 11 so far.
Expect a brick or two here. That wasn't a brick, it was a mini rock. So the brick hasn't come yet.
Traveled the entire circumference of that rim.
Rim is crying. Why you want to do that to me?
So one more coming for Dwight Howard, taking his time. 22 points now for Dwight Howard. The lead is 3.
Yeah, the Suns need to forget about just getting the 3. I mean, you're down 3 points, but I think they need a bucket. I mean, they've gone a couple of times here to take the lead, and both attempts have been 3.
Nash, no look to Kurt Thomas. Marion had a chance at a 3, now puts it on the floor. Defended there by Battie. Nash now harassed by Dooling. 5 on the shot clock, 4 on the clock for Barbosa. Hangs in the lane, arch deluxe by Leandro, and another rebound for Howard.
Well, the Suns going to do it defensively. I mean, you know, it's been tough the last 3 possessions for them. In order to still have an opportunity in this game, they have to get some stops.
Barbosa had a great look at it, rising up in the lane. And now it's Turkoglu. He has been their shooting star here in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, he's got Roger shaking his head. I mean, you know, what can you do?
Steve Nash from the outside, and it's starting to look a little grim for the Suns. Inside of 2 minutes to go. Turkoglu now with his season-high 28 points.
It's only grim if they can't stop him. I mean, the Suns are going to get about 3 more possessions here. This is a 2-possession basketball game.
The Suns have missed their last 5 field goal attempts. Dwight Howard out of the pack with the offensive rebound.
Well, they've taken 1 possession away.
And again, Keon Dooling will milk the shot clock. Inside of 1:30 to go here in the 4th. Dooling driving on Marion. Now it's Turkoglu. Left elbow. And another offensive rebound, fresh 24, courtesy Steve Francis.
The Suns have done a good job defensively. It's very difficult to stop a team 3 times in a row on 1 possession. Let's see if the Suns can get the job done.
Suns need another stop and then a defensive board. It's Dooling. 1 second on the shot clock. Goes over the top and rebounded by Rajabel. Here come the Suns, down by 5. Desperately needing a hoop. Nash. Crossing over into the lane, hangs with the right hand, tipping inside. Kurt Thomas. 2 cracks at it. Suns couldn't put it down. 30 seconds and counting here in the 4th quarter, and a foul on Steve Nash at midcourt.
You know, it's certain games that, you know, and I played a long time in this league, and there's certain games that really you lose your sleep over. You know, and the Seattle game obviously is one of them, but I think, you know, you understand that a guy as hot as Ray Allen is going to always give his team a chance to win. But you're talking about a team in Orlando who is not playing well this year, who's a struggling team, although they have played well lately. These are the games, especially at the start of a trip, that can really make you lose some sleep.
Suns missing shot after shot here in the final 3 minutes of the 4th quarter. Missing 7 straight, 8 of their last 9.
They expect a timeout here and to see another great out-of-bounds play from Mike D'Antoni, who has a lot of them.
107-100 Orlando, 28.6 to go here in the 4th. Suns beginning their 6-game journey here in Orlando, and not looking good as they get set to take on the Miami Heat next. Orlando on a 6-0 run over the last 4 minutes and 20 seconds. here of the fourth quarter. Suns were up by 1 after the first quarter. Orlando held a 5-point lead at halftime and then led by 1 going to this fourth and final quarter. Turkoglu, 10 of his 28 here in the fourth quarter.
You know, it's always a guy that throws you a curveball, and Hito is a very good offensive player, don't get me wrong, but I don't think the Suns expected him to be as dominant in this game as he's been. And I think they probably felt the same way about Luke Rittenauer in the last game against Seattle. But that's what happens in the NBA, where a wild card is thrown your way, and you really get the star of their team a little bit disheveled, and he doesn't have a great game, and that's Steve Francis. But yet Turkoglu explodes on you, and then they get quality efforts off of their bench from guys like Dooling and Diener and Garrity.
Suns 1 field goal in the last 5 minutes and 17 seconds of this fourth quarter.
Well, you need a 3. I mean, you can get a quick 2 here. They're going to have to foul right away. They'd like to get a 3 out of this play. If not, then just a quick move to the basket and then see if they miss free throws. I mean, they're not a great free throw shooting team.
And it looks like for the first time this season, while giving up 100 points to their opponent, Orlando will actually win a ball game. Up by 7 inside of 30 seconds to go. Suns get it into Nash. Quick 3, wide left. And that sums up this fourth quarter. Ball tipped out of bounds by Rajabel, and Orlando will have it leading by 7.
Yeah, I just think they'd let him run it out. I mean, unless maybe give it one more shot and foul him and see what happens. But it's going to be very difficult.
Next up for the Orlando Magic in Philly to take on the 76ers on Thursday, and then in New York against the Knicks on Friday. Again, the Suns road trip resumes on Thursday night against the Miami Heat. Then it's in Atlanta against Joe Johnson and the Hawks Friday, at Cleveland Sunday, a game that can be seen on ABC. The Suns against LeBron James and the Cavaliers, and then they close out this 6-game road trip in Philly and in Boston. It's an Inhale Life 20-second breather brought to you by the Arizona Department of Health Services, who reminds you to inhale life and be tobacco-free. For information on how to quit smoking, call 800-556-6222 or visit ashline.org. Eddie, there's a trend that's been developing, and certainly enough healthy players and talented players on this Orlando roster, but you go back to Denver when they were without Kenyon Martin and Marcus Camby, and Sacramento without 3 of their starters. Orlando playing without Jameer Nelson, who's been their best player over the last month. Grant Hill on the inactive list. And the Suns just not able to put away a team that you would think they would dispose of. There is Jameer Nelson, who was averaging 22 points over the last 11 games, and now a full timeout called by Mike D'Antoni and the Suns.
You would think Orlando was losing. I mean, maybe he's teaching, I don't know, but it's kind of interesting that he continues to call timeout.
We'll take the timeout. Back with the final 23 seconds right after this. .107-100, 23 seconds to go, and join Dan Marley on Friday, February 10th for his Celebrity Classic Golf Tournament, benefiting the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Scottsdale. Call 480-344-5681 for more information. Looks like the Magic will win number 7 in a row here at home. And there is Bo Outlaw with the Suns last season.
That's the best I've ever seen him look.
Sprained knee in a pickup game. Guy's hardly ever injured. But
that's why it's probably the best I've ever seen him look. They made him wear a sport coat.
Grant Hill, though, still calling him the cheapest teammate he's ever had. Here comes Eddie House, tipped away. All headed out of bounds and finally grabbed there by Francis. But Grant Hill was relentless on Bo Outlaw as a cheap teammate, saying, Subway gave the Orlando players a card for free subs, and Bo ate every meal there. He would have had breakfast, too, if they had opened up in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, he told me for one while in Phoenix, he just had a bed in his apartment.
You got to believe he's renting that jacket.
It's probably one of the players' jackets. He just took it off the rack in the locker room. Great guy, though. He's a great guy to have on your team, and the energy and just the leadership that he brings is, it's just immeasurable.
Francis at the line, polishing off the Suns here tonight. And Francis, 5 of 12 from the field. Perfect 4 of 4 at the line. He hit the 4 big free throws in overtime for the victory here at home in their last game over the Sacramento Kings. Perfect 5 of 5 here tonight. 15 points, 6 boards, and 6 assists. That's his career average right there. Here comes Nash, lays it in with 11 seconds to go. Nash here tonight with 22 points, 12 assists. Marion, another big numbers night, 26 points, 16 rebounds. Turkoglu, why not? It's been his fourth quarter.
Yeah, well, the Suns basically, pressured him, and so he just went to lay it up. And Steve took exception to it, but hey, Hito's trying to get his numbers up.
A win for Hito and the Orlando Magic. They improved to 17 and 22. They've won 4 in a row, 7 straight here at home. Suns start their 6-game road trip with a loss. We're back with our player of the game and Suns report right after this.